Welcome to the Bunny Show, live.
Sex saves marriages. Some say I'm a goddess with both brains and compassion. I say I'm 20% girl brain and 100% fun. I want to help you navigate the labyrinth that is the female mind. If you're not having sex with her, what are you even doing? It's only too much sex when it interferes with your mission. What we're talking about translates not only into success with women, but into social and business interactions across the board with anyone. I want you to win in life, in business, and primarily in sex. I'm like Dr. Ruth meets Nina Hartley, except I only take my clothes off in public when there's tequila shots involved. I'm so excited for the show. Are you ready? Let's do this. It's the Bunny Show live.
It's the Bunny Show, live with our host and resident sex expert, Bunny.
Good morning. Good morning. How is everybody doing this morning? I am super excited for today's topic because it's one that I get asked about a lot. And that is, number one, is it okay to have a type of girl? Yes, it's okay. Number two, if I have, Pastor Bunny sounds funny. Number two, if I have a type of girl, where do I meet them? So we are digging straight in to all of that. I don't know why I sound funny. My brain is not functioning this morning. So if Pastor Bunny sounds funny, that may be why. But we are going to rock this and have a fun time doing it because I can talk about this stuff in my sleep. I have no problems here. This is my joy. Good morning. Thank you for joining me. First and foremost, the age-old question, is it okay to have a type of girl that I'm interested in? 1000% yes. Everyone has just natural inclinations towards a certain type of person, whether you're homosexual, heterosexual, male, female, young, old. Everyone has certain attributes, qualities, maybe physical or emotional or educational, whatever the type is, and the series of types. It's like snowflakes. Nobody has the exact same type as anyone else. You have certain mixes that you just blend best with. So you need to seek out people who fit your desires, because otherwise you're going to have a little bit of underlying dissatisfaction just going into it. So Fort Worth loves to tell, he's told me one time, and it was recently, and it struck me as interesting. So Fort Worth has a thing for nurses, which I'm not, but he also has a thing for redheads, for petite girls, for fitness girls. His ex-wife is petite, not redhead, not a nurse, also a fitness girl. But like reddish hair, it's always been like a weakness, let's say, his Achilles heel. And he told me not too long ago, he said, whenever I was with my wife, I never thought anything about it. I never thought, oh, I wish she had red hair. But there was something about her that was just not quite there, and you couldn't put your finger on it. This happens, I think, a lot in relationship. We kind of create lives with people, whether you marry them, whether you have children with them, or whether you just date them. We create lives with people that seem on paper to fit the bill. You get along okay, the sex is okay, it all works. So this must be what it's supposed to be like. But if you're not creating a life with someone who is truly your type of girl, there's going to be an underlying dissatisfaction. There's going to be something missing. And that something missing can be a pretty big deal. If you're with someone who doesn't really check all your boxes or most of your boxes, and you're trying to force something to be more than it is, there's going to be an underlying dissatisfaction. And if something starts to go wrong with that relationship, the things that are missing will be even more evident. So it's just best to, number one, know that you have a type, know what your types and interests are, know how to find those girls. And, it's okay to date, flirt, fuck around with girls that are of every type. I meet women and men alike who say, oh, I don't have a type, but they always actually create relationships with the same person over and over again. So you do have a type. But if you will focus on actually building life with the people who really truly fit your needs, then that's a recipe for more success than failure. So that is what we're talking about today. Number one in that list, we are talking about, first and foremost, you doing some self-reflection. So think about what attributes, what characteristics and qualities really are most important to you, whether it's physical appearance. It's okay to really have a thing for big titted girls, or it's okay to have a thing for girls who essentially have little boy bodies. They have no tits, they have no shape. That's a type. It's okay to love big juicy asses. It's okay to love small firm asses. It's okay to like a girl who has six-pack abs. It's okay to like a girl who has a smooth stomach. Whatever your physical qualities are, whether it be hair color, whether it be physical attributes, whether it's, just tall, short, larger, big boned, juicy, round, tiny, whatever it is, you need to know. Again, practice on everyone. It's totally okay. It's awesome to get the most exposure to the most kinds of women that you can, because then you genuinely know what your type is. A lot of times something that was your type, or that you think of as being your type, is really something that you saw on a poster when you were 12 years old, and that kind of got burned into your brain. But in the real world, it really doesn't fit your desires. Maybe your ideal was this picture that you found one time of this super made up, glamorous kind of look, but you like to hike, and you like to go canoeing, and you like to water ski, and none of this is conducive with a girl who spends 5 hours getting ready every day and likes to go out always looking glamorous. She's not going to put on hiking boots. That's not how they're wired. So just because a girl or a type kind of got in your brain when you were young, keep in mind that can evolve and change as you become older, wiser, have a little bit more feet on the ground experience. But this is why you need to flirt with everyone. You need to talk to girls who aren't your type. You need to date and maybe fuck around and maybe have girls in your rotation that aren't necessarily your type, but are doing something for you, because then you really can wade through different kinds of girls and different attributes that really make up your list of what your ideal type looks like. So first and foremost, you have to know yourself and you have to know your preferences. If you don't have a lot of experience with women, you need to get experience talking, dating, having sex with, if that is in your wheelhouse, a lot of different kinds of women. So you can genuinely know, because otherwise you end up building a life with someone who doesn't really fit your desires or your needs. So it's okay to think about what her moral or ethical background is, what her spiritual values are, what her political views are, what her ethnicity is. Socioeconomic class matters. You know, Pretty Woman is a lovely movie about this bazillionaire and this prostitute, but that's not real world. No, Elon Musk is not dating streetwalkers. Literally, it's just not the way it works. Families of, moneyed environments, or well-bred families that are still together and, value closeness of relationship and family and extended family and gathering in their personal community, are not going to be inviting to someone who you're dating who does not have those same values, and oftentimes will dissuade you from being with someone or creating a life with someone who comes from a broken home, who comes from a far different socioeconomic environment than you do. You have to keep all of these things in mind when you are really developing your list of things that make up what your type really is. So even educational, background. Some people, some men in particular, maybe are not as concerned physically with your appearance. They genuinely they want to like what they see, but it's not as critical as being able to actually have real conversation with someone. Having a lot of men want a basic, low level, foundational education level, master's degree or higher, medical degree, whatever the case may be. They don't want to spend all day talking to an idiot. This is a big deal. And then there are guys who are at the opposite end of the spectrum and would rather her be a little bit dumb and silly and just go along with everything that he says. And that's sexy to them. So it depends on what your type is. So first and foremost, you have to develop a true list of what your type is. Not just what makes your dick jump, not just, what you see on the street and what your body responds to. That's a great sexual chemistry. There's something there. But the girl who fits kind of all the bills is a whole different story when it comes to actually building a life with her. Whenever you want to meet girls who are your type, so once you've developed what your type truly, truly is, and I know every single one of you who ever watches this now or in the future thinks that you already know what your type is, and there's nothing else to think about there. But I want you to really go through all of the different elements and really kind of pinpoint certain things. Now, whenever you actually want to meet these girls, start with your social circle, but start by expanding it. So you already know everybody in your social circle, let's say. Your friends, your coworkers, your acquaintances, people that you run around with, people that you already are seeing at social events. That is your current social circle. But we need to expand that. You need to look into hobbies. You need to look into expanding your friend groups. So taking one friend in particular or a different kind of group of friends than you normally hang out with, let's say, and kind of working your way into that group more. Expand your social circle, hobby groups, church groups. So not only just the denomination or the church or the environment that you're already in, but get involved. Get involved in the groups that you're already a member of and expand that. Expand on where you already are. Special interest groups, volunteering opportunities. Again, things that you're doing already, but you can do more and better. Professional organizations, that can get a little bit tricky sometimes because it's a shit where you eat kind of situation. But just like when we're in school, we spend more time with the people in school than we do with our own families. When you're working, those are the people that you see. So it's a natural inclination to meet, date, and have interest in or obsession with, sometimes a lot of one-itis, with coworkers or people that you meet professionally. I do not recommend it. CD, you agree with this. Don't date coworkers. It just gets messy. It just gets messy. But by expanding your social circles, by expanding on your existing connections, it just gives you more opportunity to meet more people that you wouldn't have met otherwise. And that is a win-win. Next, you need to be approachable. Now, this is a little bit of a double-edged sword, and I'm not trying to talk out of both sides of my mouth here. So bear with me. You need to be masculine, strong, confident. You need to be all of these things that we talk about all the time. You need to have this do not give a fuck attitude. You need to be aloof and indifferent. You need to be outcome independent. All of the things that we talk about all the time. However, if you want to be meeting new girls, we like a little bit of edge. We like a little bit of danger. We like a little bit of hardness, but you also have to actually be approachable. So you can be all of those things while also being someone who isn't scary. If you approach a girl who doesn't know you and doesn't really have any real connection to you, maybe this is her first exposure to you, maybe you're meeting her on the street rather than like in a safe kind of social circle environment kind of thing. But either way, you're completely new to her. And you look terrifying. You look like you're about to beat her to death. You look like you're menacing. You look like you just killed a man. You look like you just got out of prison. Whatever the case may be, if you look scary, she is going to either literally run the opposite direction, or she's going to be not paying any attention to anything that you say and just focus on getting the fuck away from you. You have to be approachable. So I brought this list in from just a quick excerpt from my book, Instant Self-Confidence with Women. My handbook there, which is from 2018, and then I updated it in 2022. It's fucking awesome if you haven't already read it, or if you aren't on my evergreen list where you've already downloaded it. I highly recommend it. It gets great reviews and great results. But this list comes from that, and this applies to having self-confidence and being approachable, because confidence is the number one key that turns women on. No woman likes a meek, unconfident, meager little man. It's just not sexy. So stand up straight. Keep your shoulders back. Keep your head up. Keep your chin up. Don't fidget. Smile, but don't smile in that goofy way. Like, don't be overly enthusiastic, but also don't scowl. you know, I think a lot of men in particular have a tendency to kind of do the resting bitch face thing, thinking it looks like masculine and strong, but it actually just looks like resting bitch face only on a man. It's not attractive. A little bit of smile, a little bit of smirk. We've given some examples before. Like my favorite is the Bruce Willis alpha smirk. I mean, it's just great. And you know it when you see it. And if you don't feel like you have that down, practice it in the mirror. There is nothing wrong with practicing the things that you learn in pickup, game, dating, relationships, keeping your marriage strong. There's nothing wrong with learning this stuff just as you would a new hobby, a new activity, a new career path. You go to university, you educate yourself in all the different ways that you can better yourself, either for fun or for money. This is for pleasure. You're educating yourself for pleasure. If you need to practice smiling in the mirror to be better at it without feeling like you look like a dick, then do it. Take long steps when walking, but don't be in a hurry. This is on your timeline. You're not in a hurry. Hurried men look anxious and they don't look like they have their shit together. Develop a firm handshake. And listen, I have to say this because I've gotten too many limp handshakes in my life. Firm handshakes apply to women also. Don't be afraid that you are going to break her unless she is a 95-year-old woman in her Sunday best on a Wednesday morning. Like, do not worry. Shake a woman's hand, not as firmly, not like you're going to break it like you would a man's, but shake a woman's hand firmly also. That limp fish handshake or that like genteel handshake is a complete turnoff. It's not even good manners anymore. It's terrible and it makes women feel ick. So please don't ever do that again if you've ever done it in your life. Stay well groomed. Keep your nails clipped. Keep your face shaved. If you keep a beard or facial hair, keep it trimmed, manicured, however it is that you like it. Keep your hair cut. Keep your eyebrows at least maintained and manageable and not either overly groomed or underly groomed. Take care of this stuff so that you are always ready and always projecting a version of the image that you want to project into the world. Smile. Make strong eye contact, but without being intimidating. So you want to maintain eye contact in a gentle way. Anything where you're not blinking comes off as a little bit sociopathic. Yeah, a lizard. Anything where you're maintaining super strong eye contact and your facial expression is super tight can be intimidating. You have to keep in mind, girls are not guys. I know that sounds super obvious, but I have to remind you of this all the time because girls have to go through the world thinking about our safety and security first. Unfortunately, we have to think about our safety and security first. We can't go out in the dark. We, can't go out unarmed. We always have to think of the exit strategies. We always have to think of what the person in front of us could do to hurt us. We have to think about this all of the time. Yes, that has a sexy appeal to it whenever it's a man that we're interested in. But if you are meeting new girls, she does not know you. If you are coming off as intimidating or overly, I can't think of the word. If you're coming off as intimidating, she will be scared and not in that pussy wetting way, in that I've got to get out of here way. So you're not going to make it far if your eye contact is overpowering to her. Don't cross your arms. have an open posture. Think of Richard Gere in American Gigolo, leaning on the bar. He's open. His hands are relaxed. He's got a confidence. He's just looking. He doesn't care if anyone approaches him. He doesn't care if he ever moves from this spot. He is confident, strong, and projecting an air of extreme confidence that every woman in the room would go for. Do not put your hands in your pockets. Don't walk with your hands in your pockets. Don't stand with your hands in your pockets. Number one, as a man, it's just a bad idea because then you cannot possibly be ready if you are attacked. But that is a whole other ball game. But women also pick up on that. So you look like a dork and you look like you're not ready to protect yourself or her if something were to go down. And never lean into someone. So part of confidence is having a very strong frame, being upright, being strong, being pulled back, chin up, head up, shoulders back, chest out. All of this conveys self-confidence, and all of this conveys your security in yourself and your worth as a high-level man in the world. You're powerful, you're seductive, and this attracts more of the girls that you most desire. So have an open posture and be open to talking to more women. Make conversation with everyone. Again, just like flirting with girls who aren't necessarily your type, just make it a common practice to talk to everyone. When you have that common practice, male, female, old, young, your type, not your type, when you're open to talking to everyone, then it's just so natural when it matters. You don't get nervous when it's a girl who checks all of your boxes and fits your type perfectly. You don't get nervous because talking to everyone is just what you do. You're comfortable in the environment. You're comfortable kind of being the director of the cruise ship. I always call it, as a female, I call it being the, director of the activities on a cruise ship. As a man, it's like being the honorary mayor of your community or your environment. Everywhere you go, it's best if you know people. It bodes confidence for you. It bodes confidence in her that you are a known person. You're not a fly by the seat of your pants. No one knows you, anonymous guy. That is not a safety and security thing. So you're going to attract more of the women that you desire, more of your type of woman when you are known, when you are confident, when you are the honorary mayor of your community, of your bar, of your restaurant, of your church, whatever the case may be. Talk to everyone, practice on everyone, and then whenever it's actually someone who truly gets your attention and truly gets your fire burning, then you are ready and you are confident in talking to her and moving forward in a relationship with her. Next, I want to talk about online dating. Now, this is like the ultimate expanded social circle, okay? Online dating, if you haven't already picked it up, and if you are doing online dating at all or thinking about it, pick up my Magic Bullet online dating profile handbook. Again, I originally wrote that in 2018. The current version is an expanded, updated version. Apps have changed a little bit, things of that nature. So it just naturally needed an update. So I did that in 2022. If you haven't already picked it up, pick it up. It's on Amazon and it's also available for instant download. Also, if you are a member of my Evergreen VIP program, you've already been able to download everything in my current library, which I think is about 10 or 11 books. Everything on dating, relationships, sex, attraction. Every book that I've ever written in this sphere is available for immediate download in my Evergreen program. I am also working on a social media dating, how to meet girls on social media without coming off on as creepy. So that is a book that is in the pipeline that will be sent to you automatically if you are already a member of my Evergreen VIP program. If not, you will see it available for sale whenever that publishes. But just know that that program is great, because then you can ignore every sale I ever put up because it's already going to be sent to you. But social media dating and online dating are kind of two sides to the same coin. Social media dating, reaching out to women online and on social media outlets, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter. There are a lot of couples in our Twitter neighborhood who have met on Twitter, and I freaking love that. It's more than just jumping into a girl's DM. So you have to know the intricacies. As far as online dating or social media dating goes, it's a matter of just having more poles in the water. The idea is not that you develop a relationship online. The idea is that you have a plethora more options of women that fit your desires, that fit your type, and you might not have met them otherwise. So you might as well utilize these online options, whether it's online dating apps or matchmaking programs or social media connections. All of these things are just ways to have more options and more reaches to the girls who you most desire. So you're going to be a lot more likely to meet all the girls that you possibly can that actually click the boxes on your checklist of your type if you have as many poles in the water as possible. So expanding your social circle, that is multiple poles in the water. Online dating, multiple poles in the water. Social media, connections and reaches, multiple poles in the water. Hiring a matchmaker if you are so inclined, if it's that important to you, that is a really common practice in some cultures, in some parts of the world, and in some socioeconomic classes. And a lot of people will use a matchmaker when they are sick of dating and just want to find someone who could truly be a great wife. I think of myself as quite the matchmaker. I wish like crazy I could build a business right here and now where I find love for all of you, because I love to match people up. I think it's the best thing ever, and I have a great time with it. I would love to build that business, but I just do not have those connections around the world, I should say. I have them locally. I'm a great social circle matchmaker. I have a 100% success rate. I'm just saying. You don't have to tell them how many that means. But it's about having more poles in the water, and you're going to be much more likely to find girls who check all of your boxes and are truly your type, which is the whole key to this conversation, is finding and meeting and dating more girls who actually fit your type if you have absolutely maximized your options for poles in the water. So social events and gatherings. Guys, you have to actually do stuff, okay? Going to the bar with your buddies, going to the wing hut and watching football or soccer or boxing on the big screens and drinking beer and eating wings at the bar and only flirting with the bartender girl is not going out and expanding your options. You are not going to meet her there. There are always anomalies. There are always exceptions to every rule. So I speak in grand generalizations, but I'm telling you that 99.9% of the time, you are absolutely not going to meet the girl who checks all of your boxes while you're sitting at the bar with three of your overweight, fat, nasty drinking buddies watching boxing. Stop doing that and telling yourself you're being social. It doesn't work that way. Get out. All of these expanded social circle things. So whether it's friend groups, whether it's church affiliations and extended groups, whether it's hobby groups, whether it's special interest groups, whether it's sports clubs, whether it's volunteering, whether it's professional organizations, all of those expansions on your social circle that we discussed like 20 minutes ago, actually do stuff with those groups, actually attend those events, actually coordinate things to do with people and friend groups that you build from these other areas. This is what expanding your options really looks like. And this is where you are going to meet the most women in general, and especially be additionally available to meeting more of the girls that you most desire. So you have to actually attend social events. You have to actually attend birthday parties, anniversary parties, weddings. Weddings are a great place to meet girls. Actually attend networking events, volunteer opportunities, anything that the groups that you are involved with, you're involved with them because you have a passion for what they do in one way or another at some level, whether it's professionally, whether it's socially, whether it's from a place of philanthropy or just do-goodness. So I need you to understand that you have to be social in these environments, okay? Make yourself, even if you don't feel like it, force yourself to be more social. And I know for a lot of you guys, this truly is a matter of forcing yourself to be more social. But please do so, because that's where you are going to stand out. That's where you're going to be the mayor of your environment. That's where you're going to be known. And when you are that guy, other people want to meet you. Other people want to introduce you to people. Other people want to be associated with you. So if you want to meet the most possible girls who fit your type, you need to get out there and you need to be okay with being known. Next, when you're actually in front of girls, be a good listener. And this sounds really pussified, so I'm gonna try and make this as masculine as possible. Now, when you are out with a girl, whether it's a first meetup, whether you just met her at a social event, whatever the case may be, you are going to run your game. So you're going to have your plan in place. And if you don't have a plan in place, you need to pick up, like everything that Fort Worth has ever put out there. Your dating rotation, building your dating system, basic training. Those 3 books are really good for exactly what I'm talking about right now. So have your plan in place of how you interact and deal with women on the front end of things when you first are meeting them, no matter what the environment. Actively listen. So you're not necessarily going to respond to everything she says. If she says, "Oh, I've just had a horrible day. My dog died, and then my cat stubbed its toe, and then I found that whatever the case may be, whatever drama or whatever she's talking about, whether it's good, bad, indifferent, boring, exciting, whatever the case may be, you run your game. You have your plan in place, but you're still actively listening to what it is she's saying, because you can use it in the future if you need to. You can tease her with it. You can utilize it just to kind of keep it in the back of your mind. You know, she's saying her kids' names. You don't want to say, oh, those are such cute kid names. How did you come up with those names? They're so sweet. That is a weird thing to say from a guy. That's a girl thing to say. It's a girl thing to be interested in. But you still need to know, if you ever see this girl again, what her kids' names are. If you are fucking this girl, you need to kind of know like something about her every once in a while. It makes her feel seen. It makes her feel special for you to know a few little details about her. So actively listening, but still running your game. Ask questions. If you're ever at a loss for something to say to a girl, or if there's any lull in a conversation, all you have to do is ask a girl about herself. Ask her questions. Ask her, you know, if you're at a social event, you know, what interests you about this? What brought you here tonight? If it's a volunteer opportunity, how long have you been volunteering with this organization? How many of these projects have you worked on? If it's a professional organization, how long have you been in the industry? Obvious stuff. If ever at a loss, ask her about herself, ask her about her kids, ask her about her passions, ask her about her guilty pleasures, whatever the case may be. If you get a girl talking about herself, she will not shut up. She won't. Even not chatty girls love to talk about themselves, their kids, their pets, their jobs, whatever the case may be. Whatever you ask her about, she loves it. So keep in mind that if there's ever a lull, if you ever feel unsure about what to say, number one, you don't have to fill every moment of it's okay to have a little bit of dead space. But if you feel the need to say something because there's a lull in conversation, or you feel like you're about to lose her attention, ask her a question, and ask her a question about herself or her children. And remember what she says, even if you don't respond to it right away. Number 7, and this is going to be quick, down, and dirty, but you need to understand that not every girl, no matter how hot you are, no matter how accomplished you are, no matter how rich you are, no matter how tall you are, no matter how good your game, not every girl you see is going to want to date you. She's not going to want to sleep with you. She's not going to want to be fucked in the bathroom or married. Not every girl you meet, not every girl you attempt to talk to actually will care. And that's okay. But you have to really wrap your head around this, because you know, there are a lot of things in the space that we kind of operate in this neighborhood, in this environment of pickup and game and relationships and red pill and, you know, whatever the case may be, that likes you to believe that if you're alpha enough, if you're confident enough, if you're well-dressed enough, then no woman will ever be able to resist you. And that's just not true. So just know that it's still good to practice on them. It's still good to have all of these things in place, but not every single girl, even if she's your type, you may not be hers. So not every single girl that you meet wants to have any interaction with you, and that's okay. Don't get butthurt. The second part of that is do not get butthurt about it, because then that just seals the deal and she goes, oh, dodged a bullet there. Next, and we've visited this a little bit, but you need to focus on building your self-confidence, because it truly is the number one thing that turns women on, is confidence. Self-deprecating humor is incredibly not sexy. Not being confident, being meek, being mild, being run over by other people in your environment in front of her will absolutely turn all girls off. It is not a sexy thing to be doing. So you need to focus on the ideal image that you want to project in your life. So get that idea in mind. kind of dream board it in your head, if not actually on paper. Get an idea in your mind of what your ideal look is, what your ideal level of success is, what your ideal automobile is, all across the board, the image that you want to project to the world, if you're not already doing it. And again, 99.99% of human beings are not actually living up to the potential that they could or up to the potential that they think that they should be. With that idea in mind, you're not going to go to the grocery store in flip-flops and cargo pants and a tank top, just rolled out of bed with a 9-day scruff that like looks mangy, and like you have food in your beard and you haven't brushed your hair in 3 days. That probably does not fit the image that you have in your head of your ultimate success and your ideal projection. So if it doesn't fit that ideal, there are other ways that you can go to the grocery store. You can wear what your ideal would wear to the grocery store. That doesn't mean you wear a 3-piece suit to the grocery store when you roll out of bed on a Sunday morning, but it means that you have a plan in place, and it's the same number of steps. So whether it's a different kind of shorts, whether it's a different kind of shirt, a different kind of shoe, and a fedora to hide the fact that you haven't brushed your hair, whatever your ideal is, you have to build your entire world around it. You cannot assume that going to the grocery store looking like shit doesn't matter, because I don't run into anybody there anyway. There are tons of girls at the grocery store. You never know who you're going to run into. You never know who you're going to run into that you already know. You're going to never know who you're going to run into that you'd like to know. And that's no matter what the case may be, whether it's an errand, whether it's an event. Always be prepared, and always at some level be projecting the image that you most want to convey to the world that is your ideal. That way, when you are meeting these girls, when girls come into your purview that are your type, that check your boxes, you're ready. So a great way to build confidence, aside from having your ideal image in mind and actually living that out every single day in some way. Pick up and put down heavy things. Work out. Have fitness. You can't feel better and look better without projecting that as confidence. Pay attention to what you're wearing. Build your wardrobe. It does not require a lot of money. There are high-end retailers and used thrift shops that sell the same kind of stuff at different prices. So depending on what your budget is, slowly evolve your wardrobe to fit what that ideal is. Your physical body, when you look good, you feel good. When you feel good, you project differently. And the girls that you most desire recognize that and are drawn to it. Your nutrition. You can't put shit into your body without feeling like shit and looking like shit. So if you feel and look like shit, think about what you're eating, what you're drinking, what you're smoking, what you're ingesting in every way, shape, and form. Also, your mental confidence. Think about mental game. I am a huge fan of the law of attraction. That may not be for everyone, but in my world, you can't deny it. Prayer, law of attraction, mental strength games. If you are a man and you didn't play sports or didn't serve time in the military, then you don't know how beneficial that could have been. Do things that challenge you mentally so that you can continue to build that confidence. And last but not least, the grand finale, the overarching theme and answer to this question of how do I meet girls who are my type, you have to go to the places where your type is. You're not going to meet juicy butted Latinas at, I can't think of anything, but you have to think of what your type is. You have to think of what they do, what their activities are, where they go, where they spend their time, where they spend their money. And you have to put yourself in those circles. You're not going to meet, there we go. You're not going to meet the juicy ass Latina on the golf course at the country club in Brentwood, Tennessee. It isn't going to happen. But if the waspy pickleball playing, 40-year-old well-to-do is your type, you'll probably meet her there. So go where your type resides. Think about what your type of girl likes to do. Think about what her pastimes are. Think about what her hobbies and activities are. And put yourself in those kinds of environments. When you're expanding your social circle to all these different areas, the churches, the friend groups, the social clubs, the sports clubs, the special interest things, the volunteering opportunities. If the kind of girl that you're really deeply interested in and who is your ride or die, like this is my list and I can't vary from it, if she doesn't do any of those things, then you are missing the mark. You need to go to the areas, to the special interest stuff, to the churches, to the sports groups, to the professional organizations, whatever the case may be, where the type of girl that you are most attracted to resides. Or you're not going to meet her. You're going to be prepared because you did the first 8 things, but you're not going to meet her because you're not putting yourself in the right environment. And environment matters above all. Now, that all being said, it looks like we had some questions, but first, I want to let you know that Saturday, so on July 15th, in the morning, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, I am doing a Bunny Interviews episode with Lee Jordan. Now, I don't know if you know who Lee Jordan is. He is a friend of mine on Twitter, and he is a really great guy. He has a fascinating story, somewhat heartbreaking. He's got a really varied story of success and heartbreak. He lost his wife in a car accident 4 years ago, almost to the day. First of all, they had a really interesting story and history and kind of journey that they went on. It wasn't like instant attraction, instant love, but they had a deep love and affection for one another. And so hearing him tell that story of how they got to be is such a lovely thing to begin with. But then, of course, since her accident, since she passed, the story of his recovery and rebound and jumping back into dating is really fascinating. He's gone through a lot of interesting stories and situations, and he's just a funny, easy to talk to guy. We have great conversations. CD Bear knows him. He's a neat guy, and it's going to be a fun conversation. It's going to be a really great interview, and I am super pumped about it. I love all of my Bunny interviews. They always are very cool, and there's always really good takeaways from them because I like to run with interesting people. But even if you don't know the people that I am interested in talking to and interviewing, you will still, I think, really genuinely enjoy these conversations. So that all being said, I hope you tune in on Saturday morning or after the fact for the Bunny interviews with special guest Lee Jordan.
You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Well, Francis, and I'm glad we talked about this right before the show.
Oh.
How do we find women that are not like Jonah Hill's ex-girlfriend.
Okay, like not like her in that she put him on blast after the fact.
I think that's it. Because basically, I think that may be let's see if he answers, but that might be the question because you don't want people blowing you out.
Yeah. Okay, so in the news right now, or in our Twitter space at least, has been actor Jonah Hill's ex for like at least a year, it sounds like, putting him on blast from a text that he had sent her about essentially kind of setting up his boundaries. I thought it was a really well written text. Fort Worth and I are actually planning on talking about this topic more in depth on our Morning Hustle episode on Thursday also. So tune in for that, because we will inevitably say a lot of stuff that I won't necessarily say today. But to avoid, I think where this question is going, to avoid girls who would put you on blast for doing something like this. And I think that, I think that she did it for a number of reasons. I think she did it because out of jealousy, maybe she thought she could do better. And I don't know anything about these people or their story. So she may be dating Donald Trump at this point for all I fucking know. I don't have a clue. She may have gone on and done better things, but hypergamy is a real thing. And she may have split with him thinking, if I can get him, I could do even better. I could go up the echelon. I'm a professional athlete. I run in some pretty high level circles. I've already got one boyfriend who's an actor. Maybe I could get a better looking boyfriend who's an actor. Whatever the case may be. I think that girls will inevitably go out of their way to put a guy on blast who doesn't end up panning out. Very rarely will you find a girl who either gets broken up with or breaks up and doesn't regret it in some way. And once she either gets broken up with or regret the breakup, if she instigated it, she will inevitably start enjoying with pleasure. It's kind of a sickness, really. Girls will start talking shit about this guy who's no longer in their life, no longer a factor. Jonah Hill and this girl didn't have kids together, right? That's my understanding.
Mm-hmm.
They dated, nothing came of it. There's no connection there whatsoever. There's no need to continue having conversation with this human being, but she just can't help it. And that is, I think, where alpha widowing comes in. I think that's where girls regret the bad decisions that they make that brought them to that point. That's where, girls think that they should have handled it differently or could have done something differently, or are just bitter because he didn't want to put up with her shit. I thought that he handled it very well, but how to avoid girls who will do that in this day and age, I think it's going to be very difficult. And honestly, I hate to say this. I think that a girl who's not going to put you on blast for breaking up, number one, she probably doesn't have all that much social media in the first place. But number two, you probably married her. So, and you're probably happily ever after with a house full of kids. Like, it's either one or the other, because girls get bitter when they get broken up with, or they get bitter when they realize that they can't actually do better. If she had moved on and was satisfied and happy with the route that her life took after she and Jonah Hill split, then she would not have the energy for any regret. She wouldn't care. It would be a moot point. Girls who aren't being alpha widowed, girls who don't regret their decisions. They don't even think about guys who they once dated. It wouldn't even be on her radar. It would be a moot point, nothing that anyone would ever think about or share. But in this day and age where everyone is texting, there's a digital trail to everything that we do, say, feel. You know, you never know what's being screenshotted and you never know when it's going to come out. That's where that Jumbotron comes out. You know, I feel like Jonah Hill, knowing nothing of him or his situation, I feel like Jonah Hill can be proud that I think that his text passed the Jumbotron test. It was clear, it was concise, it was well written. It just stated what was important to him and said pretty respectfully, if this isn't where you are, that's okay. I wish you well. But this is something that's important to me. So his text, to my opinion, fit the Jumbotron test. It's being blasted across the world, and who cares? It doesn't matter. This is only for her satisfaction, and she thinks she's trying to prove a point, but really is making her look like an idiot and like she is bitter and resents that they didn't work out. So I think it's going to be very difficult in this day and age to avoid this kind of situation. I think the best way to avoid it is to marry and live happily ever after, because then why would she put you on blast?
That's good.
Yeah. Any other questions? There's been a lot of comment, or a lot of back and forth, but I think people are handling it pretty well in the comments. Anything else that we need to discuss today?
That's all I see, baby.
Thank you so much for joining me. I love this time together on Sunday mornings. I have a lot of fun with it. Even on days like today where I was kind of like brain dead to start, this kind of stuff, the attraction, dating, sex, all of this is in my wheelhouse. And again, I could talk to you for hours about it, which is why I love meeting with consult clients, which is why I love writing books, which is why I love the constant conversation of Twitter, which is why I love all of these great live shows that Fort Worth and I are doing, as well as our podcast, because this is our passion. And I think that from the comments that you guys have given us and the feedback that you've given us and the great reviews and just all of the positive ways that you support us in all the ways that you do, I think that you also feel what a passion that we have for this very wide-ranging subject. So thank you so much for joining me today and every day. Everybody go and have a great Sunday. Bye. I love it. Oh, and if you want to submit a question for some other show, go to myplayboysbunny.com/men and submit question for Q&A. Boom. I almost forgot.